Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The beginning of his mission is at 40. Now before, when in his late 30s, he began to see the ru'ya. Also, Sheikh gave me, I didn't bring it specifically for this, but because I had something written on the back. But Sheikh had one of his sons look up the thing about Abraham Lincoln. And he actually did have a dream 3 days before he was assassinated, that he was going to be killed, assassinated at a theater. And one of his close friends actually, there were several witnesses, him telling this dream. So the Sheikh used that example. He was surprised that neither I nor Dr. Abdul Hadi knew our history as well as we should have. I said, Sheikh. So he began to have these dreams, and that's the beginning of the prophetic experience, is dreams, the ru'ya salihah. And he would have these dreams, they're very clear dreams. And then at 40, it was his wont to go up to the Jabal Nur, which is there, the Ghar Hira, the cave. And this is actually something that his ancestors did also. It wasn't just the Prophet ﷺ, but it was actually a retreat for his fathers. So it was a place where his fathers went also. For those of you who have been up there, it's quite a small cave. You can actually, historically, not anymore because of the buildings, but you could see the Kaaba from inside the cave. So in the books of Sirah, they say, وَكَانَ يَتَحَنَّثُ فِي غَارِ حِرَى, that he used to do tahannuth. Tahannuth in Arabic, al-hinth, which is in Surah al-Waqi'ah, al-hinth al-azim, which is shirk. Tahannuth, tafa'ul, is one of the meanings of it is takalluf or tajannub, to avoid something. Like tahajjud is to avoid hujud, which is sleep. So tahannuth is to avoid hinth. So it was a place where he was able to go to empty out himself from the shirk that was around him. And he was doing, obviously, like what we would call meditation today. He was there to do his prayers. And during that period, at the age of 40, Jibreel alayhi salam comes to him. Now, when he comes, he's in Ramadan, he comes to him, and the first thing that Jibreel does is he squeezes him 3 times. He squeezes him حَتَّى بَلَغَ مِنْهُ الْجُهْدِ, until he thought that it was going to break his ribs. And he squeezes him 3 times, so hard that it was almost unbearable. And some of the people of Ishara said that this was the last emptying out to prepare his it was like a spiritual emptying out. This is what they call in the mustarahat of the qawm, they call it the takhliya, which the 3 stages on a path to God are takhliya, tahliya, and tajliya, which is takhliya is the emptying out, tahliya is the adornment, so emptying out of everything other than Allah, and then adornment with the qualities that God, these qualities that God wants human beings to be adorned with, and then tajliya is where the meanings begin to be revealed to the person. So the Prophet ﷺ had this experience, and then Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq is the first. And some say Ya Ayyuhan Muzammil, Ya Ayyuhan Mudaththir. But the Alaq is the most famous one mentioned. So the Prophet ﷺ, at that point when he has this experience, he goes out. Now he saw Jibreel fill all the horizon. So you can imagine the shock. He was literally in shock. And he almost literally goes over the hill. It's quite steep up there if you've ever climbed up there. It took us a few hours to get up. It's quite a haul. But he goes down, rushes down. He literally crawls into Aisha. He's shaking. So he's in trauma. I mean, any trauma physician knows when you read that story, because I worked in a trauma unit, when you read that story, he is in trauma. Now, one of the first things that you're supposed to do with a trauma person is you're supposed to wrap them up. because you need to bring the heat back into the body. And so what's so amazing to me about that story is that he is present enough, because when people are in trauma, they're completely absent. I mean, I saw a man die at Mina. He fell from the top where the Jamarat were between. He was trying to cross over, and he fell down and landed right in front of us, Sudanese man. And I was with a physician, and he immediately got up, and we were telling him, sit down. And he said, no, I'm fine. Maybe a shay. He said, I'm fine. We said, no, sit down. And then boom, he just dropped dead. So when people are in trauma, they don't know it. But he was present enough to say, Zammiluni, wrap me up. I mean, that is just such an amazing testimony to his state. Now, for those of you who have a Christian background, especially from Orthodox or Catholic tradition, which are the best ones, by the way. Yeah. In Christianity, they have what's called the law of discernment. In the law of discernment it is the way in which you tell whether an experience is demonic by nature or angelic or divine, because people have spiritual experiences. In the law of discernment, in the Catholic and Orthodox tradition, the single most important thing is that initially, in a true religious experience of an angel, there is a very profound constriction of the soul that is followed by an expansion. In a demonic experience is exactly the opposite, that they have an expansion that's followed by a contraction. And that, the description of the prophet is consistent with the law of discernment in the, you can Google this if you're interested in it.